Imagine this, you're standing on the deck of a massive British warship in the 19th century. Sails billowing in the wind, cannons gleaming under the sun. The world is yours, or at least, it feels that way. The British Empire isn't just a nation. It's a colossal machine, spanning continents, controlling oceans, and dictating the fate of millions. But what if I told you that this unbeatable giant didn't crumble under the weight of epic battles, barbarian invasions, or fiery revolutions? No, it died a slow, agonizing death from something far more insidious, a single, creeping mistake that poisoned it from within. And here's the chilling part, the United States, the modern-day Titan, is marching down the exact same doomed path. Buckle up, because this isn't just history, it's a warning siren for our future. Let's rewind to the peak of British glory in the 1800s. Picture London as the beating heart of the world. The empire stretched across 13 million square miles, 1/4 of Earth's landmass, home to over 400 million people. From the bustling streets of Bombay to the vast savannas of Africa, the Royal Navy, with over 800 ships at its height, ruled the waves like a god of the sea, ensuring no rival dared challenge British trade routes. Colonies weren't just outposts, they were lifelines. India supplied cotton and tea, fueling Britain's industrial revolution and filling its coffers with billions in today's money. Africa provided diamonds, gold, and rubber, powering factories back home. The Middle East's oil kept the engines running, while China's opium trade, yes, that dark chapter, opened doors to endless markets. British bankers in the City of London pulled the strings of global finance, lending to kings and corporations alike. It was power on a scale humanity had never seen, untouchable, unbreakable, or so they thought. But absolute power breeds arrogance, doesn't it? The Brits got cocky. They expanded relentlessly, conquering new territories in Africa during the scramble for Africa in the 1880s, building railways across India that cost fortunes, and stationing troops everywhere from Egypt to Hong Kong. Each victory added glory, but also massive bills. Maintaining India alone required 250,000 soldiers, a fleet of ships, and endless supplies. Wars like the Boer War, 1899 to 1902, drained millions, killing thousands and exposing cracks in the system. To fund it all, Britain turned to debt. They borrowed from their own banks, from American investors, even from their colonies. By 1900, national debt had ballooned to £800 million, about $150 billion today, with interest payments eating into the budget like termites in wood. They ignored the warnings. Economists like John Maynard Keynes would later highlight the folly, but the empire pressed on, convinced their dominance was eternal. Then came the hammer blows, World War I and II. In 1914, Britain entered the Great War as the world's banker, but emerged in 1918 with debts totaling £7 billion, over $1 trillion today, factories in ruins from German bombings, and a workforce decimated by 900,000 deaths. They won, but at what cost? Fast forward to World War II, Britain stood alone against Hitler in 1940. Enduring the Blitz, over 40,000 civilians killed in London alone, while rationing food and pouring everything into the fight. By 1945, under Winston Churchill's defiant leadership, victory was theirs, but the empire was bankrupt. Debt hit £21 billion, $400 billion today. Interest payments skyrocketed, and the US had to bail them out with the Lend-Lease program. Factories were bombed to rubble, ships sunk, and colonies restless. The empire couldn't afford the glue holding it together anymore. What happened next? A quiet unraveling. India gained independence in 1947 amid partition riots that killed up to 2 million, with leaders like Gandhi and Nehru leading the charge. Africa followed suit, Ghana in 1957, Nigeria in 1960, Kenya after the Mau Mau uprising. The Suez Crisis in 1956 was the nail in the coffin. Britain tried to seize the canal but backed down under US pressure, exposing their weakness. They sold off assets, devalued the pound, and watched as the sterling area collapsed. No grand invasion, no rebel army storming London, just economic suffocation. Debt forced choices: pay interest or feed your people, maintain bases or rebuild homes. The empire faded into history, a shadow of its former self. Now, shift your gaze across the Atlantic. After World War II, America stepped into the spotlight. The US dollar became the world's reserve currency through the Bretton Woods system in 1944. Giving Uncle Sam unprecedented leverage. The military? Unrivaled, over 800 bases in 80-plus countries today. From Germany to Guam, costing $800 billion annually, more than the next 10 nations combined. The Navy patrols the South China Sea. The Air Force dominates the skies. And interventions in Iraq, Afghanistan, and beyond shape global politics. America controls trade through sanctions, influences elections, and protects allies like a global sheriff. Sound familiar? It's Britain's playbook, page for page. But here's the trapdoor: debt. As of 2026, U.S. national debt exceeds $35 trillion. Yes, that's $35 trillion. To put it in perspective, if you stacked $100 bills, it'd reach the moon and back multiple times. Interest payments alone? Over $1 trillion a year, more than the entire Pentagon budget. That's money not going to schools, roads, or innovation. It's vanishing into lenders' pockets, including China, which holds over $800 billion in U.S. treasuries. Wars in the Middle East have cost $8 trillion since 2001, funded by borrowing. Bases in Europe and Asia? Billions more. And with inflation ticking up and entitlements like Social Security straining the system, the math is brutal. Can America just pull back? Think again. Withdraw from the Middle East, and Iran or ISIS fills the void. Leave Asia, and China claims Taiwan. Abandon Europe, and Russia eyes Ukraine's neighbors. So, like Britain, America overextends, more spending, more debt, more vulnerability. Economists warn of a debt spiral. Interest rates rise, as they did to 5% in 2023, making borrowing costlier, forcing cuts that weaken the military, inviting rivals to pounce. History isn't a dusty book, it's a mirror. Empires like Rome fell from overreach and debasement of currency. The Ottomans from endless wars and debt. Britain ignored the signs, arrogance blinded them. America? We're seeing cracks, political gridlock in Congress, rising inequality. The top 1% hold more wealth than the middle class, and challengers like China's Belt and Road Initiative stealing influence. The fall won't come with nukes or tanks, it'll be subtle, a credit downgrade here, a currency crisis there, until dominance slips away. So, what can we do? Demand fiscal responsibility, cut wasteful spending, reform taxes, invest in innovation. But ignore this, and we're scripting our own quiet surrender. Empires aren't eternal, they're fragile illusions built on balance sheets. Britain learned it the hard way. Will America heed the lesson, or become another chapter in the history books? The choice is ours, let's make it count. What do you think? Ready to rewrite the ending?